Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? This is Sire Wave from State to the Point Radio on WFBS 98.1. I just want to thank you so much for just clicking on that link, checking us out for the first time. And if you're not a first timer, thank you for coming back and checking us out again. If you rock with the show, if you love the show, if you just enjoy the vibes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and don't forget that bell so it can alert you anytime we drop a vid. I love y'all. I thank y'all. And again, like we say at the end of every show, God over everything. Peace.
You are now tuning in to State to the Point Radio.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Fuego Beats here with Sherry.
Hey guys, what's up? I
Yep,
look
yep.
rough.
Nah,
I
you're
just
good. You're good. We of course we here for another State to the Point Radio show here on WFBS 981 Fuego Beats Radio. Sherry, or right now, I'm sorry, Saya is out of commission just for this week. And Chandra wasn't feeling that well, so it's me and Sherry holding it down.
we trying.
My name is Saya Wave today. If you see, I didn't change it. I'm sorry. I keep on that name. You got to. I got to fill in, but those are big shoes, so I'm changing it. But anyway, we Sherry, what's been good? Because we ain't talking a while.
Yeah, no, it's been crazy, I guess, and then I took kind of like a couple weeks off of everything from
Yeah.
the show, from social media, from everything. I was just like stressed out. So I needed a break. So but I'm back trying to get back on track with everything. But yeah.
So how
Here I
does
am.
it feel like when you do that? Because I always say I'm gonna do it, and I never do it. So how does it feel to like have that, like I'm away from everything and that?
It feels good. You get some of your time back, because
Mhm.
time is precious. And you don't realize how much time you invest in, or I wouldn't even know if that would you would call that an investment, but
Mhm.
you put into social media and stuff like that, and being tangled up with a lot of stuff that's just really not even my business. you know I mean, to be
Absolutely.
honest, worried about stuff that doesn't have nothing to do with me, realistically. But then, like, the politics stuff and, the BLM stuff. And, I'm really passionate about all that stuff. And it just became like extremely taxing. And I had to take a break. I needed a break. I was like, okay, I am stressed out.
Yeah, no, I feel you right. I feel the same way. I'm like I'm gonna take a week the following week, not this week, but the next week. And I wanted to go, like, I've never been to like mountains or anything like in terms of like just I pass through. But I
Mhm.
always had an issue that if nobody of color is with me, I'm I'm not
Yeah,
going to no
come down here
mountains.
with me. I do stuff like that all the time. We just went rafting, whitewater
Oh,
rafting.
that's
Was it
cool.
last weekend? That was so much fun. Because I live down, down here in the Carolinas. There's a
Yeah.
lot of that. And you live 15 minutes. I live like in the mountainy area. Like Greenville is kind of close to the
Oh, okay.
mountains, not far from like Asheville and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
so there's a lot of that
Mhm.
here, lakes, rivers, and all that,
Got
mountains. Yeah. So
you. Got you.
I like it. I enjoy it. We
No,
went
that's
out
cool. But
to the
I
park
definitely
and
feel you to like you gotta kind of decompress and like download all the nonsense out of your brain and then reboot. Like that's how it has to go. And I
for
totally
real though.
feel that. Yes, yes. And I really think that's good for like everybody to do that sometimes. Just to
Hmm.
like take a break. I mean, a lot of people think when you're doing that, there's something major happened, and it's not always that. It's just the fact that hey, because I'm not gonna lie, when I was like Saya was like, oh, Sherry, she's taking a break. So I was like, oh, what happened? That's the first thing we think. What she all right? She good? You know, no, everybody's okay. And then he's like, no, she good. And I was like, okay. So I was like, cool. And then we talk on text, so I knew everything was good. But
Hmm.
it goes through your head. But just for that relaxation and just not have to
Well, sometimes you just gotta like just walk away from things. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And just refocus. Recenter yourself. So that's basically what I did.
Yep,
That's
yep.
it.
And that's what's up.
No, nothing major happened.
That's what's up.
I
That's all.
still got
Well, I'm happy.
everybody. I still have my health.
That's all.
Everything is good.
And that's all we gotta. We must have the health and the mental and physical health. That's key. because you already know they play each other. So
Right.
it's nuts. But today, everybody, we're gonna talk about a couple topics. We're not gonna drag it out too long today because it's a hectic Sunday. We're actually getting ready on the East Coast for a potential storm. Like
Yeah.
now we had went from what a pandemic, and we ain't seen nothing like this since what the Spanish flu or the bubonic plague. Like
Yeah.
like we haven't seen
We
nothing.
were just talking about that.
Yeah, then we went to the '60s, right, with civil rights and everything. We're still fighting that. That's never gonna stop. Now we're talking about battling. You can't battle Mother Nature, but I
No.
mean that's where we're at.
Hurricane season, it is what it is.
It is, and I told everybody back in like no April. I was like, "Yo, we're about to get it in. Let's start, planning at the workplace and everything."
Yeah.
Because, so yeah, and then and with all this, of course, I want to like this is my last week for a week at the office, so everything's going nuts, and I know it's gonna happen. It's like people losing their minds.
Yeah, I mean, I've been contemplating like um I wrote up a proposal letter and everything, because I'm a salary employee
Yeah.
and I wrote up a proposal letter to be an hourly employee
Well, yeah.
to go down to like 25 hours a week. I really
Oh,
just
okay.
I want my time back. I want my life back, and I just really want to like refocus myself in other areas of my life. And
Absolutely.
I just like, yeah, you'd be like, dang, I need my job. It's like, but I need how much. I had to sit down and say, how much of my job's income do I actually need? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I just feel like peace is just it's worth so much more valuable.
Yes. No,
So
you're right. You're absolutely right. Like, because one of the things I was watching a guy that I met, my man. Shout out to my man Keys. He's been grinding. He came from Kingston, Jamaica, years ago, and he's been grinding like for 15 to 20 years, grinding, trying to help his mother start, their restaurant business, and they finally accomplished that not too long ago in a perfect area, and they have a Caribbean restaurant. It's popping. Like, I went over there yesterday, and I was like, just the sheer fact that he did it is motivating me to similar, conversations may have to be had, because the time is like you put all your time into somebody else's stuff
right.
and
And
not
that's where
yours.
I'm at. I'm like, by the time I get off of work, then I get home, I don't really feel like or have the energy because I'm up. Like, I started this new thing where I get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm like,
Oh,
I work out and I meditate
that's
and I
what's
do
up.
all of that um in the morning. So I do like a light workout in the morning, then I do my workout after I get off work. But I get up every morning and I cook myself a light breakfast, and then I have like meditation, and then I write some notes, and then I educate myself a little bit, and then I start my day, and it just makes my day so much better rather than rolling out of bed, getting the regular morning stuff.
Yeah, and I gotta
um
go back to that because that was
yeah,
helpful. Like because you get energy, you have energy.
more it's crazy how
Yeah,
much more energy I have
exactly,
and I get up way earlier than I was.
exactly.
So so there's that. And I'm just like really starting to realize, like, Sherry, you're not doing what you want to do. And so when you're not doing what you want to do, it's just like you're not living in your purpose. And I just been listening to all these people that have made it. I mean, Oprah, man, people would be sleeping. Oprah would be spitting a lot of knowledge. And I know that she's one of them people that Black people mad at right now because they don't feel like she is saying enough. But when you actually sit down and listen to the tea she has spilled, she be
Mhm.
dropping some real gems. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And I mean, she's not my number one lady, but she really does, spit some knowledge from time to time. And I've been listening to a lot of her stuff um lately, and it's really good. It's really, really good. Just helping myself get back centered and focused and all of that stuff.
Well, definitely, definitely. So, with saying that, you talked about Oprah, and
Hmm.
she's a powerful, powerful, not just Black woman, but woman in general. Like,
Hmm.
she has, I mean, as much as it irritates me with certain things she does. The same thing I feel there are good qualities. There, like you
Hmm.
said, there's gems. I mean, you watch where she came from, and you're like, wow, you know what I mean? Um, she took sacrifices on her side and just everything, and then to see her build her own really passed, and all that is inspiring. But also to that, since we were talking about like leaders and things, we lost one in John Lewis, and again, I don't always follow, politics and all these civil rights leaders, what they do now.
Hmm.
But he was one that I thought, because I always thought one of my coworkers looked just like him. So we was always like, and I was always following and just seeing. I mean, he's been through everything. So what I wanted to, everybody, once they, hear the show, chime in. You can email us, stay to the point radio at gmail.com. You can also hit up the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and so forth. Let us know what you feel. But what's the impact? Like with you, Sherry, what impact did he have for you personally?
For me, I knew, about John Lewis, obviously knowing about the civil rights movements and everything like that. His name, it just comes up naturally because he was such a major part. But I think that past that, I think his consistency and staying with it, not, letting it go. I think his integrity, I think anybody that was in his path, from what I know about him, it just seemed like he made sure people knew where he stood. And so, I think that brought, it's almost like when we talk about setting boundaries, I think that he set a bar,
Yeah.
and he expected anybody in his circle to meet that bar or
Yeah.
exceed it, and I think, I just think that he didn't, I've been watching a lot of stuff. I know that Pence, went to his funeral, or one of them, because it was quite the celebration of life for John Lewis this past week, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, dang, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here, we're here. So obviously he had quite the impact, because to have such a homegoing, I think, is truly an honor. Um, but I did appreciate that they did put the flag at half mast, because with this current,
Yeah.
you just never know, like, you just never know. So I was just like, okay, they did the right thing, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, for me, I think John Lewis, I don't know, I just think that he was a man of his word. I think for me, integrity is a big word. And I think that he just, I mean, textbook definition of a man with integrity. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh-huh.
But like I said, I do think that just from the very beginning, he said what he was going to do. He joined a movement, and he lived that. He lived what he said.
He lived it, and it's crazy because when you I mean, you listen to all the leaders of just over the years. I'm talking everybody, but like it stuck out to me because there's not that many people that say, as a kid, like 9, 10 years old, I'm gonna be this, and they actually are that. Like, I mean, we know some athletes that say that, but in my everyday life, we all have said what we were gonna be. There's only a handful of people that are actually what they said they were gonna be.
It's because he believed what he said. And
Exactly.
if you have to, like, they go together. You could say anything, you know what I mean? But if you don't actually believe it, then you got to put a nail in it, make it permanent. It's like, I believe this. I'm not going to stray from this. He believed it, and he purposely and intentionally lived his life a certain way
Hmm.
so that he could achieve those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing that one thing that we all have to understand, is that him and others put us on pretty much the generations that we weren't there when he was going, when the beatings and Selma and everything, like when that was happening, we weren't there. We weren't alive. Or when I say that, we weren't even thought of in that respect.
Seriously. Yeah.
And they took that, and the reason why we could do certain things. But what pains me is the fact that he went through all of that, and his last year of life, he gonna see it again. He's seeing the same thing he done fought for again. And then,
Mhm.
even though I'm gonna hit us too, we gotta realize, as people, of color and so forth, watch what we do too, to make sure we honor, what he's trying to do as best as we could. But that's the thing that got me, is that, like, he's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, I'm seeing this again. I thought this was over. It's better. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I just imagine what he and others think
And I
about
think
that.
that that's my problem with a lot of the opinions, particularly from Black people that I see on social media. Part of why I took such a break, because I was so discouraged. I was so discouraged. You know, it's like you sit there and because I've been writing a lot, and I just feel like, does anybody? I just feel like our time, and you have some people that are the word we use is woke, and then, but you just have so much ignorance, and it's not just white people.
Oh no.
And
It's
when
everybody.
when I'm scrolling through my timeline and I'm like seeing just all the ignorance, and then when you're looking and you're seeing what's going on from city to city with the BLM, and I feel like with a lot of things, we are muting the message in a lot of ways. It's so stressful. Um,
Yep.
it's stressful because right now we have an administration that's not listening.
No.
Just they're not listening, and then people are just, because we feel quote unquote free, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
there are so many people that are just like ignorant to what's happening right now, and it's it's hurtful. And I can imagine how somebody like John Lewis, all this stuff, all of every achievement that they have, as far as they've come, and then to still have Black kids born today
Mhm.
and to be so ignorant. I hate to say this because I love my people, but I've just seen some very ignorant things. I just like I can't even like I'm just stressed out even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because when you think of everything that Martin Luther King and John Lewis and before fought for, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I mean, to the point where they were willing to give their lives for it. And then you see the ignorance behind some of the stuff that the people are saying. And I know that the difference maker for this election and the next election is the generation, honestly, under us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my daughter gets to vote in a couple of years, and there's this artist. Her name is Mahalia, and she has a song. It's called "We the Generation." And
Mhm.
I looked at my daughter one day and I said, when I listen to the song, I think about you. I think about your generation and the changes that you guys really can make. Not that we can't, but I just think about all the people to follow us, because we do have to consider our generation and the inheritance that we leave for our children and our children's children. And I get so frustrated when I see the ignorance behind some of these people, and particularly the people in their 20s. It's so ignorant. And then even some people that we went to school with,
I was
honestly.
just about to say that.
I
I was
was
gonna,
like,
because Hiawatha, me and Nemesis, shout out to Nemesis, was talking. I'm gonna try to. I want to try to get him on next week though too.
yeah, I
So
had a conversation with Hiawatha about this
we
too
was.
this week. Yeah.
Oh, for real? Okay, so it's funny. I think he told me he was like, it's funny because I was talking to Sherry. So maybe it was after we talked.
Mm,
It was because we talked till like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. It was
yeah.
crazy because I was telling we was just talking about things and he was just putting me on to things that I didn't realize of people who went to school with us. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. And I look at it and I'm starting to research. I do a lot of research and I don't just jump. I used to fly off the handle, but now I kind of, take my time and
Same.
research. So I
Yeah.
look at the particular individual and I said, why is he talking almost like pro Trump? And then I started to put it together. Oh, that's right. They accept you. And because you grew up in that neighborhood, that's accepting. Now, just like we were talking about John Lewis, he grew up in a
Mhm.
predominantly black. He didn't really know white people like that.
Right.
Growing up as a kid, when he was exposed to them, it was negative because where he lived was prejudice and was segregation and stuff like that. So when I put it together, it was like, what's the difference between people who lived in a Fairfield area versus people who lived in College Park? It ain't that far. Like
Mm-mm.
literally, it's not that far.
No, it's
Then I
not.
started, and I don't mean College Park in the big houses, as they say. I mean like Level Green and all of that. What's the
Right.
difference? What's the
Clear
difference?
Springs Court.
Exactly.
green,
And
right?
that's why Virginia is unique, because there's pockets. Like they'd be like, "What are you talking about? Virginia Beach is nice." Then you go to those pockets, Twin Canal,
Right.
Bridal Creek. We got there's little pockets over there of don't go in that neighborhood type
Right,
shit.
because Newport News would
Oh,
come to us and think that we was, I guess Tallwood, we were the Sadiddy kids, the good,
they
and
was,
I'm
but to
like,
your point, they were the individuals I'm talking about, because it was
right,
just weird, because I had never been like up north. You like knew where you were, or a few kids got bussed out to good schools. You know what I'm saying? Like a few kids got bussed out, but like in VA, it literally was in their school districts intertwined. So you might have been like, there was guys that I mean, I mean, ain't no beef. Like my man Ivan, Ivan Brown. That was my dude. He a cool dude, but he was a little more fluent. Chesapeake
mhm,
kind of busted in over there. Like, you know what I'm saying? He drove every BMW, like, you know what I'm saying? Then you had your dudes that I know from New Light and all that didn't have a pot to piss in. I was in the middle. I didn't have a car down there. My parents, we couldn't afford the most money my father ever made. Now, my mother wasn't working, $35,000 a year. That's the most my father ever. So, we were struggling, but because we lived there, when family came from New York or something, "Hey, y'all live in a night," because they don't realize the inside of the house stuff. And we did, for some reason, went to school together, which most
mhm.
places is separate. You know what I mean? It's different. So it was that just said the distinction in that. But luckily, Ivan was very humble. Or he didn't really act to me. I mean, not all crazy. You know what I mean? He was with everybody and hung out with everybody, and didn't make me feel like he thought that low of me. Never thought of that. So like things like that, I look at, and I'm just saying like. But I just researched the particular individuals that Hiawatha was talking about, and I was like, yo, I see what it is. You grew up, or you didn't grow up that way. Now you live in another area.
Right.
An
That's what it is.
individual who
Yeah,
played
I know who
football
you're
that we
talking.
know, that
Right.
now you accept it. So now you're like, okay, well now I forgot what it was, or I didn't experience. Maybe I really didn't experience that, but they can't see it from somebody else's pain. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And what they go through. And the generation, you're absolutely right. Like I was out, and I'll let you jump in. I just wanted to say this to everybody. This hurt me a little bit. I was over. I love sushi, right? And there's one particular sushi spot that's my spot.
Hmm.
I went in there and I saw. So there's a like rock climbing, and like I think it's like air game. I forget, like bungee jumping type things, and whatever. This facility now right by me, right? So there was a bunch of kids. I mean, they're Hispanic, Black. I saw a couple white, Asian, just massive kids. I don't know why the hell as many kids was out. Like I was like, are you even allowed to do that right now? So I went to get the sushi, and then there was kid. They were getting food. So this the man that owns the sushi spot, he was just uncharacteristically very mean. What you
Hmm.
doing? The guy walked in and said, they were talking about where if they wanted to sit there or not. What you gonna do? You gonna order? You gonna go? What you gonna do? Come on, come on. And I'm like, dude, he never acts like that. So then I have my mask on, so he can't tell, and I'm dressed. I got the rag on my head. He don't realize I'm not with them and who I am. So he talks to me a little rough. So I pulled down my mask, and he was like, oh, like I know you. Okay. Oh, go get sushi because I know you want the sushi. Go over here. But he's still talking to them. My wife called up there to make the order, and she heard him in the background. Next time you come in, I'm gonna call the police. And from what I saw, the kids was just kids. Like they literally wasn't doing anything but trying to figure out what they were gonna do. So I walked out the store, right? And I came and I talked to the kid. I was like, yo, because I thought they didn't think I was gonna lecture them, but they looked at me like, what? I said, is it me or was he being extra aggressive to y'all? And they said, no, that's what I'm saying. You know how they do it. I said, but calm down. I saw it. You don't get into nothing. I saw it. I'm gonna chill here with you for a second because I saw 13 police cars line up with
Oh,
2 police officers each car. We talking 30-something police officers for what? It might have been a fight at first, but I mean, whatever the case is, as I know you got to do. And I'm not mad at the police. Don't get me wrong. I'm mad about this guy just singling out and coming at them and yelling at these young girls. They remind me of actually of your daughters because they were like chilling and just They weren't being rude. And I mean, they were, a curse came out, like everything. But they was like sitting, they was like, so y'all want to eat here? And he's like, you have a mask on, don't you? Pull your mask up. And I asked him, I said, sir, why they got no mask on right there? What are they supposed to not have a mask on? And he froze and looked at me. Then that's why I took my mask down, because I'm like, how you gonna make a rule for them but not them? And mind you, it was a black couple as well, but they were a little older. You know what I'm saying? Like around maybe our age, a little bit older. And I'm just like, why? Because you think that they're not going to steal your rice? How? They can't get to it. What do you think these kids are going to really do with 13 cop cars out there already? Why you know what I'm saying? Why are you acting like that? It brought me back to the 90s with the little girl that was a mistaken, and the Asian lady shot her.
Yeah, I can't talk about that because it makes me so angry, because when you watch the video and you see what actually happened, and then the fact that what makes me angry, number one, that Asian lady shot her. Even if she did steal, it was orange juice. Nobody deserves to lose their life over orange juice. That's number one. Number two, it was the judge. The fact that woman was found guilty, and then the judge then reversed that, because she said, I know a criminal when I see a criminal, and I don't believe that because if that was a little white girl, you would have sent that Asian woman to jail. But because it was a little black girl, you thought it was okay. Like, I don't see, our justice system is so messed up. Because just like you might not feel that she was a criminal, neither was that little girl. And even if she was stealing, it was an orange juice. So the fact that that woman is crazy enough to shoot somebody over an orange juice, and an orange juice right now, I feel like it's too expensive at $1.89. I'm gonna just assume the orange juice was a little cheaper back then. Yeah. So you shot somebody for less than $2. That's crazy.
Life at that.
That's what I'm saying. You took a life for less than $2.
And that's why I tell these kids, I'm sorry, and this is what society, nobody's saying white people or anybody else is horrible. Nobody's saying that, but the way society is built. It's the same way when we see an Asian dude stretching, we automatically think a kick is coming next. We just assume they do martial arts. I'm sorry to hell to say that, but they do. What? They see me 6'4", they see me at 6'4", and they say, you probably played basketball. Well, they're right about that. But what if they weren't? Because I have a homeboy that's 6'4" and only played the guitar. He didn't even mess with, and a little bit of softball.
I know plenty of tall people that don't play basketball.
That don't play basketball. Then you got the short ones that could ball out, like Chechepko. He's 5'4" or something, 5'5", and he can hoop. But you look at us. That's just an assumption based on things we've seen, all of that. Then that's what it is. So with the assumption is the black girl, after the little girls and little boys become an age that they are not sure if they're teenagers or 11, they become an adult. Pretty much after 11 years old, depending on the size and everything, you become an adult.
Yeah, there was a study done about that. All the details, I'm not going to go into it because I don't have all the details, but I did hear that there was a study done. Same thing with, they used a study with teachers, and the teachers were asked they use like the eye coordination or whatever centers. I don't know what they're called exactly, the technical word for it, but they watched eye movement, right? And they had told the teachers, they put like a bunch of, put like a black kid, a white kid, a something other kid, and a something other kid in a room. And they told the teacher to watch for trouble. And when the kid was watching for trouble, when the teacher was watching for trouble, she only followed the black kid. And there were some teachers that asked to omit that information from the study because they were so embarrassed. But then there were some teachers that were just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And these are teachers. These are who were sending our black children to school to be taught by these teachers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when they were asked to follow or look for trouble, they followed the black kid. Mm-hmm. And that was just one of them. But the other thing was you know, like cops viewing Black kids as men as early as, I think it was like 8 or 10 or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy.
And that's the thing that, so we're not, it's and I called it, I said muscle memory of things. When you're taught, when you see, when you, it's automatic that you're just gonna think that way. It's literally automatic that you're just, and it's not like I tell my people all the time, it's not about, it's a white person or Asian or even a Black person is not always doing a certain thing on purpose. Like they don't literally, you think sometimes people got time to if they had time to think, then they wouldn't probably do the stupid shit they do. But they
Hmm.
just, it's just natural, you just react that way. So you
And
see,
it's just things that you don't even
yeah,
realize are in your, that are in your, yeah, like you're saying, like you're just taught, like, or things you hear when you're a kid, not necessarily taught, but it's the rhetoric in your home that is just constantly said. And then you grow up, you don't even realize you feel this way, and then a situation happens and it's like, dang, I feel this way.
mm-hmm.
You know, and some people don't, like you said, they don't immediately recognize their issue or that it even is an issue. And that's why you'll hear so many white people be like, I'm not racist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you never thought about it.
Yeah,
But in your like this, but what you do does come off as you are racist.
exactly. And that going back to, like, the John Lewis, watching that and seeing what he went through when it was pretty much okay to do that. It wasn't anybody looking at you crazy. It's just, you just the leadership aspect. And I know we said that a lot of people say y'all don't, we don't really have a leader now. And you look back at that and you start to think, I don't. We don't. Not that we need a leader, but just individuals where, like I said, of all races, because like the Freedom Riders, I mean, he was one of them. And that's another thing. It was actually more white people in there than it was Black. Just one more. But I'm just saying it was more, it was lopsided a little bit. But they were there. You seen the famous picture, at the stand when they pouring milkshakes on their head and stuff. Those white people there with you. So that shows you right there. We need everybody. It's not a Black fight alone, and
That's
we
one
need
thing.
everybody.
That's one thing. I agree with you completely. I believe that we have to all be united, but we also all have to be united as Black people. And I think that that's where my frustration was really stemming from, because we're not. You know what I'm saying? We're just not. I mean, even trying to get Black people to participate in, you know, what is it, blackout or whatever it was called.
I did that.
Yeah, I did it too. You know, but it was just like a lot of Black people was like, you know, for what they didn't understand the concept. You're not understanding that how much you don't understand your own power, and that's a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, and trying to explain it, it's like when you try to explain something to people who are committed to just misunderstanding what you're trying to say anyway, it's like you're just talking to a brick wall. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
Until something directly affects someone, a lot of times you're just not even going to get through to them.
the whole funny point, and I talked about this before, that I watch, even, and I know we'll get on the Trump stuff next, but just watching just entertainment and things of that nature. I watch people cheat all the time in terms of white, Black, whatever. But for like 4 weeks or more now, we
Hmm.
all been hopping on Jada and Will, one way or another, one side or the other. Either you're like, Jada, man, she did her thing, she did her thing, or you're like, you know what, Will, we feel bad for you. F Jada. We don't see that the same way for other nationalities. They just, it happened and that's it. Same thing with how we ridicule. I did it myself. I jumped on Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, whatever, whatever. They don't do it to the way we do it to ourselves and talk about each other. I don't see it like that. I see that Brett Favre might make a mistake and say something. Matter of fact, even the racist, I'll see that. Not Brett Favre. Let me. Who's somebody that's Popovich. They probably say Popovich is the biggest race traitor and all this stuff, and Steve Kerr and all that, but you
Yeah.
never see them doing it on. I never see it on Facebook. I never see anything like that. I really don't see it like I see us. Maybe because they highlight it more, but also because I literally don't see us beefing. Let's put it this way: even down to when we was in school with shoes, I have never seen. Oh, I can't say that. I have seen more of us ridicule each other for what we wear than I've
Yeah,
seen them.
correct.
Reality. I have not seen. I've seen teasing. You're teasing a guy. Oh, you're kind of chubby, or your girl, you wear braces. Little things like that. But I've never seen them say, "Yo, look at him with them old Jordans on." It's the who cares? They
And it's
mind their business and they do their
always,
thing.
and you know what is crazy to me?
Uh-huh.
When I would always see somebody on free lunch, you on free lunch, and you don't live in the best neighborhood or whatever, but you clean, like you got on
You got
new
Jordan.
shoes, Jordans, all of that. Like I never understand it. I never understand it. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. And I'm gonna tackle that is because I think I like that in my next phase of my life. I really want to start researching this stuff. And anybody once again listening in, Stay to the Point Radio at gmail.com if you want to hit us up with email, want to get on the show, things like that, or want to just listen in, you go on the YouTube page, Stay to the Point Radio. Pretty much Stay to the Point Radio for everything. Just look it up. And then Sherry, Chandra, Saya, and myself have all our social media things. And I know going forward we're gonna start to put our at so and so on here because it will be helpful.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get that technology. All right, y'all watching us grow. Because you remember how I used to be? I used to record Cherry out of my headphones because I didn't have a mic. Like it was that I done grown. So
Yes.
watching us grow, y'all coming through. A lot of people you can't say that. A lot of groups. So just make sure you support. We'll support all of that. But with that being said, all of this, I guess I want to end that portion on John Lewis believed in unity and doing it together. Not just black people alone, but you got to start there with people that are going through it. Start there. I hate to say policing yourselves, but yes, if you see your own somebody look like you, they're gonna make you look a certain way. I think you could have a conversation. I didn't get on those boys because they were about to start using racial things to the guy. I calmed it down though. I said, you right. I see you. I see what he's doing, but don't do it.
Accountability just doesn't seem to be a thing
Oh, it's not
anymore in the Black community. It's taken wrong. This generation is very easily offended by everything that you can't say anything. I was just in the hair store like maybe an hour or two ago, and there was this young girl, and I know I'm at that age where I might be confused sometimes for being younger than I am, but I have a lot of patience. And when I realize I'm dealing with a young girl, I don't respond because I'm not about to get in an entanglement or some type of situation with you because you're like probably half my age, literally, and I'm not being funny. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So sometimes these girls really be out here trying to start with me. I'm like pushing 40 here in a couple of years. Like, I don't have time. I have my daughter is probably closer in age with you. Like, I do not have time. And then a lot of times I'm out with my daughter and people don't realize that she's my daughter. People think that we're friends or something, because she's taller than me and, all that stuff. But I'm like, I'm a whole grown person. Like, I am a whole grown woman with a whole grown woman life. And I am not about to be out here messing with you. But this girl tried to start something with, I never even said anything to her.
Really?
Yeah. And she literally purposely almost backed into me, stood there for a second to see if I was going to say something to her. And I didn't. I just let her have her little moment because she needed it, obviously. And then when she finally realized that I was not the one, that I'm not going to say nothing to you. I'm not even going to give you the time of day to even think that you're going to start in the store with me today. So I just waited for her to have her little young moment, and then I went about my life, because we're supposed to be 6 feet apart. I was standing 6 feet behind you. Why are you up on me like this? And that's what she wanted me to say something. But I wasn't.
And I don't understand. I
don't understand that type of stuff. I've never been that
have
type
friends
of
that was
girl.
like that. I have friends. My cousin was like that. We in front of stores, and we teenagers. He like, what the fuck are they looking at? Yo, I said, they're looking at you to see if you're gonna come in because you're in front of their damn store. I would look at you too. Like, what the fuck? Like, we would argue sometimes about. I'm like, dude, yo, you trying to start just to start. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Literally
Why do that?
intentionally creating a situation that wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, yeah, I'm not even gonna like give her, because you have to give somebody, in order for there to be some type of connectivity there, you have got to connect. I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to give her that energy.
That's it. And that's what it comes down to. I'm just saying everybody has to do that, calm, but unite and do this together because
Mhm.
like Sherry said, there's an administration in there that's actually trying to delay the election. And I'm gonna tell y'all before I even ask the questions, I'm gonna say this. I said it, he's gonna, and somebody else said the same thing years ago. You're gonna have to physically remove this dude. The dude ain't trying to
He
leave.
has almost implied that himself.
The dude said
What did
delaying
I
the
post?
election.
I feel like I posted it on Facebook, but he had literally said, somebody asked, who, I can't remember the reporter, somebody interviewed him and asked him the question, you know, will you like willingly leave the White House, or will there be an issue for you to leave? He said, no, there won't be if I win. Like, there won't be any issues if I win. Like, dude.
That's his New York way too. Like, but I know what you mean, and you're right. And you're right. He says things like that,
Like,
but you got to take him as face value now. Before you would be like, yo, you just talking that, got a cocky attitude, and you know what I'm saying. But
I
no,
take
I'm
what
taking
he
the
said.
dude at face value because
Right.
the dude is off his. I mean, everybody who I just don't see how the dude just started talking about wearing masks 2 weeks ago.
Right. And he's
2 weeks
literally,
ago.
he rides the wave when he sees that his narrative didn't work, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I had taken a little break from all of that too. But then I tuned in the other day for a few minutes when he did a press conference from the White House, as he's been doing lately.
Mhm.
And he was talking about, you probably seen it or heard about it, and he was talking about the face mask thing, and he was talking about other states that thought, this is when he was talking about, oh yeah. He was talking about John Lewis first, right? And then he was like, he talked about John Lewis for like 10 seconds. I swear. Then he like went into the whole, no, it wasn't John Lewis. It wasn't John Lewis. It was the other GOP representative that recently died from cancer.
Kane? Yeah.
Yes. And he talked about him for like 10 seconds. And then he said, yeah, basically he died from coronavirus, this, that, and whatever. Or no, he didn't say coronavirus. That's what pissed me off. He said the China virus. And I'm like, dude, you're talking about somebody's life here. You could at least call it for what it is. But he couldn't. His petty meter just could not come down for just a moment, just to, say something about this man that just passed. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dude, let it go, bruh. Like, China, this is my thing. Even if it did come from China, I don't really feel like that matters. All viruses derive from somewhere. They all come from somewhere. Who gives a damn that it came from China? It's here now, right? But at the end of the day, China's already responded to this. Hey, our CDC contacted your CDC January, blah, blah, blah. And it was like the beginning of January, first week of January, like January 3rd or something like that.
Because I was up in New York the last week talking to them about
Right.
getting ready for all. I didn't know it was going to jump off like this, but
right.
Yep.
And it was, so their CDC did the right thing when they caught whiff of it, whatever. But to their defense, just like their doctors caught it, our doctors could have done the same thing. People in the United States have been getting sick since last year.
Yes.
And not being diagnosed with. So why is it that our doctors and our hospitals and everything, because I was very sick late December and all the month of January. I was really, really sick. And I didn't have the flu. And then when I first went to the hospital, they diagnosed me with an upper respiratory infection. They gave me antibiotics and whatever. It never worked. So then a couple weeks later, I ended up going back to the hospital, and then they said I had pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
And so I was on steroids or whatever. And I think the steroids honestly saved my life. There was times where I felt like I was not going to wake up.
Wow.
When I was scared to go to sleep because it was that bad. I couldn't breathe. And it was really, really bad. But anyway, long story short, my view of this is, this was going on in hospitals all across this country, right? And just like China had to catch the virus in their country, we could have done the same thing. And they reported it, but yet I was in the hospital mid to late January, and they didn't even test me for anything like that, bring it up that it could be anything like this. So then there was delayed information to the hospitals across this country because I was misdiagnosed twice. I'm pretty positive I had COVID.
And I think I agree. I think a lot of people did. Myself, I was very sick. My cousin was sick, but then she, same thing with you. Then she wanted to get tested back in like April or something, or May, and she had the antibodies for it, so she had to get it at some point. But
right.
So my thing with that is that the question I have and I don't know this answer at all. I only have a theory, but and I will get back to Trump, but with the fact that we care so much in this country about the media, because I mean, in my line of work, I'm always trying to catch it, and we got to keep it a certain level in this country before the media gets it. Are other countries not worried about that, and that's why they're not easily, I don't want to call it hiding, but yes, like things are not hidden as much, or maybe, you know what I mean, things are like a little bit, seems like maybe more transparent.
The thing with the United States is the United States is so busy trying to look a certain way. It's almost no different than the chicks on Instagram where you only post certain stuff on social media because you don't want people to know your real life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's how the United States is, because they don't want the whole world to know just how effed up this country really, really is, right? Yeah. So they try to keep certain things, and then, because of the type of government we have here, they have to word it a certain way because they want to make sure that this state stays red and that state stays blue, and we control the narrative so they can think this way because we want them to think this way. And people don't understand that they're being you're basically being told how to think every day. Yeah. And because you don't want to look past what you hear, or try to at least have some discernment. People do not use their discernment when it comes to things. And I think that that's where misinformation comes. And then a lot of people will listen to 5 minutes of a 30-minute thing and think that they understand the whole 30 minutes when they only listen to 5 minutes. I mean, if you take a test and you only listen to 5 minutes of a 30-minute video, are you going to pass the test? Exactly. Probably not. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But we have people who don't read. There's a lot of people who don't read. That's a big thing. I preach on that all the time because somebody will say this, that, and the next, and then you read that article and be like, where did you get that from? Because you didn't read the article. You either skimmed it or you watched the video. So you missed the point completely. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I see that a lot. I don't know. And then, like I said, I think all together, nobody wants to be wrong. No, nobody wants to be wrong. You say something to somebody, it's like, oh, you say this. I caught a lot of help from that thing that I posted about people getting unemployment. That a lot of people. Yeah, you did. I really did. I didn't write the thing. I reposted it, but I felt how I felt. I believed in what it said. I've been preaching that the whole time. That unemployment wasn't going to last forever, and people was out here living like that's going to last forever. The smart people are the ones that knew what it was and accepted it for what it was. And then there's a lot of people that could have been back to work but chose not to be back to work because they was making more on unemployment than they were off of it.
Yes, and that's what I was saying. And when you rely, and that's where I do agree with some of the Republicans on certain things with that. That's why I like to play the middle.
That's why I don't claim to be anything, because people get upset with me because I do agree with a lot of Republican views. Now, I think Trump is a radical Republican. So therefore, I don't agree with anything. And this is why I feel that I'm a responsible voter, because I actually listen to the candidate, right? You don't. When you sit up here, anybody that says I'm a Democrat, you're always going to vote for a Democrat, even if the Democrat is a piece of shit. Same thing with Republicans, and they're even worse about it. Republicans are even worse about it. A Republican, when you claim Republican, you just feel somehow that you are you feel better than other people.
Yes.
I don't know who
Yes.
told you that you were better because you're Republican, right? And I do feel like a lot of Republican views are very sensible when being mandated by the right person.
So with that being said, like because I know we went into this and we were talking about Donald Trump forcing his way into stay
Yeah,
and all that.
yeah,
We were talking
yeah.
about that. We both feel that that's what we thinking is gonna go down. But so the topic you just is very, to me, it's a, I like it. It's very important because you're thinking about it like the way I look at it is that Republicans seem, like you said, it seems like when you say I'm Republican, you have this light that comes on
Yeah,
you.
like, oh, I'm on the right side.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
this, or I'm
and,
better, or my
and
life is
yeah,
better. Yeah,
and
like,
studying them,
yeah,
I
like
see.
it is the
Mhm.
way that they set it up is that Democrats are for poor people, Republicans are for rich people. And it's not like that because I'm not nowhere near rich at all. I wish, but I'm not. But when I look, when you lay out all the Republican views and when I've laid out the Democratic views, I do side more with the Republican views.
Because I do feel that a lot of Democrats, you know, I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but it is
It's not,
them to
but
keep
they're
you
been
a
conditioned
certain
that
level.
way.
Yes.
And it's a conditioning, and it's almost like you make excuses. It's a lot of that.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
it's almost, and so I do agree with the Republican that the Democrats are trying to keep you poor. I do feel that way.
And I feel that way. And what I do see on the other side of it, I agree. I'm calling man back. I agree that what let me say I agree. I feel that on the flip side, when a Democrat says Republicans really don't give a damn about nobody, they're selfish. I agree with that.
I agree with that
so,
too.
because it's true that Republicans really think they're like almost by the book.
Right.
Democrats could be a little bit
But
more
there are a lot of
flexible in
people
certain
that are
things.
Republicans that shouldn't be Republicans
Yes,
because
absolutely,
they
absolutely.
benefit off of the Democratic views, but
Yes,
they claim Republican because
it's
they
the thing
think
to say.
that it's the right thing. It makes me better than you if I'm Republican. So I don't claim nothing.
I
I
know.
feel like I'm gonna vote for who's better for the country. If
Yeah,
I think who represents our
exactly.
country best.
I know
And
a woman who talks about how liberals do this, how they're keeping us like this and that and the other. Well, she's not. She doesn't marry her boyfriend on purpose and gets welfare. How are you talking right now? I know
right.
you want to be because he's Republican or whatever, but you get welfare. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, the Democrats are setting
I'm
you up so
also
you can
one of
continue to
those
get that welfare.
people. I'm also one of those people, and this is what I don't like about the Republicans or the Democrats, because hold companies accountable and raise minimum wage, and let's try to get rid of welfare, and let's start holding people accountable to do the right thing and go to work. Because you have a lot of people benefiting off of welfare that they could work, and they're choosing not to because they're getting, what do they call it, like food stamps and TANF, and I mean, you name it, they get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Section 8 housing. And if our minimum wage wasn't $7.25 an hour, a lot of that could go away.
Yep.
A lot of it. Because I don't understand how food is going up, housing is going up.
Yeah.
You know, all of this stuff is going up, but minimum wage is $7.25. Federal minimum wage is $7.25. And so certain states have raised their minimum wage because the cost of living is high. But even $10 minimum wage in New York is nothing. $10 minimum wage in California is nothing. That's nothing. You cannot raise your family. There was this girl, she claims to be Republican. She argued with me tooth and nail about that. She was like, well, you're not supposed to stay at $7.25 an hour. I said, okay, but an 18-year-old that's just getting out of high school and doesn't have a support system and needs to get out on their own because their mother kicked them out the house can't survive off of $7.25 an hour. Everybody doesn't have a bunch of friends that just wants to go, hey, let's go get an apartment together. Everybody's situation is not the same. So you have got to make the structure so that one individual person can go out and get a 1-bedroom apartment when they're starting off their life and be able to afford it if they're doing the right thing and going to work. Because I'll tell you, I went into the military and I could not afford an apartment, which is why they put you into barracks or dorms, is what we call them in the Air Force. but they put you into a dorm room because you can't afford to live off of what they pay you as an airman. And I was at E3 when I first went in, and I could not afford to live off base. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And that's why then when you do move off base, they give you BASF. That's a company that we do for my job. BAS, or and all of that stuff. They give you food supplement income and housing supplement income, and all of that is lovely. But your regular salary does not. It just, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
So. It's crazy. So, when you say that, and she was in the Air Force, and that's why, and she has that view. I'm like, as an airman, you would not have been able to live off of what the country was paying you to defend this country, to go to work every day and do whatever it was that you did and defend this country. You did not make enough to have an apartment.
But, and that's what I was saying. That's why I said it's too much judgment. It's like I remember when Trump said, I didn't have much. I started out, my father gave me a loan for $1 million. And I looked like, dude, in your world, maybe that's not nothing. But in our world, $1 million would have done wonders. I would have had a couple different spots right now, and they would have been bumped. They would have been popping because of the ideas that we all have.
If everybody got, or everybody who wanted to, because that's another thing, is everybody mentally doesn't want the same things in life, which is fine. But when you think like, I think it was, what's his name? Is it Kawasaki? It's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kawasaki.
I think so. I forget.
Yeah, I've read a couple of his books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad being one of them. And he talks about a lot of them, that the way to be rich is in this country is to use debt to your advantage. And, all of us are talking about getting out of debt. But it's the debt. That's why when we talk about it, because I talk about it all the time, we have a president who is a multimillionaire, maybe billionaire, right? And he's filed bankruptcy 6 times. Yep. And so he was talking about how it is debt that a lot of people that look like they have a lot of money, they're also in a lot of debt. And they've used that debt to, like, basically they don't pay taxes. Like, it's crazy. Like, he was really spitting, like, they write everything off as their business. That's why there's no reason why all of us should not have an EIN number.
That's it.
Write everything off on your business. I mean, he's dropping gems, and nobody wants to hear it.
And that's what I keep telling people, because the first thing you think about is, when I have a business, that I don't want to do the paperwork and it's not about that. You don't have to have a crew. Just because I say, okay, and this is another thing I always tell people on these shows, if I have a business, you automatically, you're thinking Fortune 500. So I remember when I used to say, I produce music. So unless I'm Pharrell or Dr. Dre, then I don't do music.
They could be going out to dinner with their family, just a regular Friday night, hanging out or taking their wife out to dinner. They write it off. That was a business.
That's what I do. I say, Yvonne, I said, because she wants to start a business. She wants to do some stuff. I said, so, and we talked for 10 minutes. Everything but liquor. So I got to get back to that, because I got to reinstate mine, because I had a year of I didn't reinstate it the year before last. So
everything up
fees, and that's it. And that's what I did. You talking about if you rent an apartment section of your area, all of that. My boy, he was a graphic designer back in 2007. A dude I met him because he was a passenger. I'm sorry. He was a customer at Blockbuster when I worked there. And he was like, I literally I don't have no, like, big money like that.
Like, if you podcast in that room, or you're a gamer and you game in that room and you're whatever,
all of that.
Write that off. If you have a business, if you're working for Monet or one of these other MLM companies or whatever, write that off. The notepad you buy, write it off. All of that stuff. Keep the receipts, your gas. Oh, I was on my way to a business meeting. Write it off. Like, it's like
people, electronically. They have apps for that. You take a picture of your receipt, you log it. At the end of the year, you got all that proof. If they even ask you, because they never asked me.
Yeah, until you get audited. I keep it in the event that you get audited.
Yeah.
Unless you get audited, they don't ask for it. You
Yeah,
just write it
especially if
off.
it's not that much.
Or if you don't want to do it yourself and you hire a tax professional, they're going to ask for it. But
yeah, and that's
and
what it is. But that's what
but
I tell people.
if you're organized enough to be meticulous enough to keep your own stuff, like I bought, like I don't even have like a whole filing cabinet because I have enough of those at work. But I bought like a little bin, and I think it cost me $10. And I bought some of those cute little dividers or whatever, and I put them in there, and they're all divided by this, and I have my household bills, and I have a binder for this. And you just put everything in there.
Yep.
It's not even difficult. You get a receipt for stuff anyway.
Yep. And that's what I was talking about. Like, I'm gonna go and reinstate now and just do it. All the free advice that we give and all of that. Like, I mean, if I'm at dinner with you or something, we talking about it, then you write that meal off.
I mean, you could get an EIN, just say or go online and get a life certificate, a certificate that says you're a life coach.
Yep.
Well, now you have a business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really like,
it's very easy
way
these
too
days.
many ways to make money out here. There really is.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, summing that part up, with the whole Trump, we talked about John Lewis, and then Trump trying to stay in. Make sure y'all do all this stuff we're talking about. Understand both sides, but understand that you got to get him out of. You're gonna have to vote.
Just because,
not
because he don't be spitting gems sometimes too.
I was gonna say that because he does.
Right, but because he is a radical and he's dangerous to me because he doesn't understand his power. Trump is dangerous because he doesn't understand, or maybe he does and he doesn't care. And either way, it's dangerous. To me, he's dangerous for this country. He's dangerous for the world. Yeah. The way that I see, if we keep Trump in office, he's going to start another world war. And that's what I feel. I feel like like we're this close. We are this close to it. And it's terrifying.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I just don't think, like, when people ask me, I say, yeah, I think there's I was all on Trump. Like, I was reading his books. I was listening to his show because he's dropped gems. He dropped gems on people. He don't care about a high school a diploma versus a college degree, because if you high school with skills and you've been working in the field, you know more than the person with the college degree. So I believe in that. Even though I hold degrees, I believe in that. I believe in you have to do the work. That's the difference between like some of us and the others. I had to work and I had to and I'm going to college. So
it's the same reason that a lot of times a lot of these companies will hire a military veteran before they hire somebody from college, because
I've been doing that for a while. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you have, number one, the discipline. Number two, you've done it. That's what you've been doing for however long, whether it be 4, 6, 12, or 20 years that you were in the military. You've done it. You've actively done that job. And so a lot of people will hire a veteran over, or, the trade schools, they're more popular. They're more, the outcome of trade schools is better than 4-year degrees.
And that's what I was telling people. And, if you want to get your 4-year because you want to learn the philosophy behind things and that, because I'll tell you, college did help me to understand a lot of when I say higher level, like upper management, like senior management level stuff. All the stuff as far as nuts and bolts and all that. I honestly, IT is my educational background, but I have never put anything together other than home networks. I have never done, but I've always worked with IT because I manage projects. So I hired you because
College will teach you the same thing, but the only difference is you learn more literature and not application.
Exactly.
But it may tell you, like it tells you, okay, this is how, but it doesn't show you how. You know what I'm saying?
It'll tell you the how and the why.
Right.
But it won't show you. Now the thing is, I learned in the technical field how they were doing it is that they learned the how and they learn how to do it, but they don't learn, well, why are you doing this and how does that affect your budget?
Then in college,
how to affect your budget.
You learn how to articulate things. You learn how to do. So if you want to be on that side of it, then yes, go to school 4 years. But if you just want to learn how to do something, then whatever. If you want to get in, because sometimes you just want to get in there. Then you find a mentor, and that's priceless. That's better to me than a 4-year degree, because once you find a mentor, it's like they could just, if you get a good mentor, they will teach you all kinds of stuff,
Exactly. Exactly.
So, and I think that that's kind of more Trump's story. I mean, Trump did technically go to school, but rumor has it he didn't do very well in school. But I think that Trump isn't
he probably he knew more than the damn teacher. Like,
right.
You know that. You know the way he is now. You know he was like that growing up. You know he was a jerk. He was one of those dudes. You know that he would actually get people probably to do things for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like that. He's a master manipulator. I'll say that too.
He's very good at that.
The entire country.
Yes.
I mean, he did that.
It's his gift.
So I'm gonna say that. So that right there, we like I said, we need to get out there and come together. But I have a question. I guess you would call this the man cave. Now let me say this. I'm gonna ask this question, understanding, Sherri, we're not gonna talk about it a whole lot. I want to get just your opinion as a woman, and then I want to stop there, and I want to ask it next week with everybody on, because I want us to go in depth, and I want to put the question out there for everybody, so then we can respond to what people say and all that. But a question that Jasmine put up, man, she had basically, it wasn't a question, it was like a statement of basically your best friend and marry your best friend, essentially. Become best friends and then marry your best friend. So my question was, and I don't know if you saw it, but I was asking, and I said, I'm going to ask this question, but not talk about it. The question was, how do you stay out of the friend zone then? Now, I'm not asking you to answer that one, but that's my question for next week, right? I just want to put it out there now so everybody can start thinking about it, of how do you, if I'm making you my best friend, as a man, that doesn't always work into a relationship, that friend zone. So I want, just think about that, sir, and everybody that's listening, mostly the women. I want you guys to see, if we do that, how do we stay out of the friend zone as men? We can't answer that. That's something that I need y'all to. But the other question that I had is that when it comes to, it was another question that I had that came up. I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was Jasmine's what's it called post as well. But is it true? I want to ask: is it true that rich men will date and marry poor women faster than a rich woman would do the same thing for a man, for a poor man? That's I know none of us are rich, but I'm just saying you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's not doing as well as you. And my statement was, there are some women that want to fix up men. I just know, I know a couple. But now, in reality, what do you see?
I do think that is true. And I think it's just because, women, you feel like, I guess because I've experienced both sides of this, because I was dealing with somebody who didn't really have their stuff together.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a problem.
Yeah.
And then after I wasn't with him no more, I missed him. It was really, it's cringe. It's crazy because the things that he would do for me, somebody that had the guys that have it together, they won't do.
It's weird.
It's crazy because you don't want them, like, you want to be the kind of woman that, helps them. Because I feel like I am that woman. I'm supportive. I help you build it up, or if you have, whatever I can do, and be there for you. I mean, it's like that movie Acrimony or whatever it's called, the one Taraji P did.
Acrimony or whatever. The one on I saw that one. Okay, yeah.
It was a good movie, and everybody felt some type of way about Taraji being upset, but I understood. I wasn't upset at Taraji because I think that you're not looking at the situation correctly, because Taraji was for years basically taking care of him and believing in him. She had to do that for years before she got fed up. The other woman's situation, and so her view of it was different because she was on the transaction side of it. And I say that meaning she knew the outcome of his success. So she accepted you see what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like, I'll give another example. And it's not like a relationship, but it is. So the girl that ended up benefiting from him making it, she knew the outcome because she was helping him. She was on that side of it. That was her job.
So, yeah, she knew the business.
what was
How-
gonna
yeah,
right. She knew
yeah.
what was gonna come out of it. She knew
I
the
got you.
outcome.
I got you.
Taraji didn't know the outcome because everything that she had for years, it wasn't months or weeks, you know, it wasn't until the contract started. It was years of, I've been there for you, I've done this and this and that and whatever. And so I think, you know, she was just, I don't think Taraji was wrong. And I think she was right to feel some type of way. I really do. There was a couple of things though that kind of made me feel some type of way about her in the movie. But I think ultimately what we're talking about, I think that women, you do want to typically be there for a man, but a lot of women don't have the, what's the word? You know, the holdout or whatever it's called. There's a word for it. I just can't think of it. But to wait, you know, or the patience to wait the length of time that it may take for that man to get where he wants to be. Now, dealing with a man that doesn't have ambition, that's different. When you're dealing with a man that doesn't have ambition, there's no hope. I'm sorry. Like, when you don't have any ambition to do anything, there's no hope. I couldn't do it. And like I said, but I do think that there are men, the men out there that don't really have it together will do more for you typically than the men that do. The men that do feel like because they have it together, they don't have to do this and they don't have to do that. And like I said, I've dealt with both sides of that. And it's nice to have a man that has it together or that can do, or that if you know, want certain things and yeah, you could get it yourself, but you know, it's nice to have a man that can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
So I
I
think it just depends on the man.
Exactly.
Because yeah.
Mm-hmm. I talked to a young lady one time. We were just talking, and she was a little bit like, her father was connected with like everybody. Like, oh, I don't know what he did, but he was like a diplomat, right? And we was talking. Well, I guess that's what he do. He's a diplomat, but he just was connected, you know. And he was like talking to me, and it was cool because he was like, "Oh, you finishing your IT?" Actually, I was in the middle of the program, and he was like, you know, I got some, you know, place people that you can meet for internships, this, that. And I was cool with. Then I overheard her talking as if like I'm this homeless puppy dog or something that you're trying to fix up. I was like, and I got mad. I said, I can't talk to you no more. I'm not, that's disrespectful. Most guys would be like, well, shit, she gonna give me these suits. She gonna make me look. But you ain't gonna do that to me. You're not gonna sit here like I'm less than intelligent enough to get myself right. I just don't have the money right now to do what you got the money for. So
and
I
that's
didn't
what
like being
women also have to be.
Yeah.
I wrote a podcast, not a podcast,
a blog.
blog about this actually.
Yeah, no, that's good. That makes sense because it made me feel like what she doesn't what I knew was gonna happen is that it was gonna get to a certain level, and I was gonna have feelings. We're gonna have feelings for each other, maybe one way, whatever. I might have feelings for her, and then I knew the way I am now, I was gonna eventually be like that because I was gonna get educated and understand what I need to do, articulate myself better. Once I get to that point, she's gonna be done with me. Because then she's done her job and I'm just a project. I'm not as something actually that you care for. Like that's what it is. So I you know that question, like, and they were talking about it in the group, whatever. And I just felt like it's one of those things that I've seen that myself. Yes, I think a rich guy, like I think of Kobe. Kobe was one. That I'm not saying that I don't know what her background, but she was a dancer. She wasn't, you know, a person.
Yeah, she didn't have it together. Yeah, you see it all the time with men.
You do.
And I think the difference is that women easily submit to.
Yeah,
and men
ego.
don't.
We got
yeah.
I don't like my wife telling nobody. I was like, you just told me we don't have money. No, don't tell her that because that's gonna make me look bad. She carries because she's one to do. She grew up without, you know, a father figure like that, and she's carrying groceries in these big 32, you know, pack water, and I'm like, what are you doing? You know how it makes me look? Like it makes me look like, and I didn't know you was even coming home. You could have said you got two big boys now, and me. So no, I was like, don't do that no more. And it took a while for her to get what I'm saying, because it was like, why are you trying to? Because she was very, why are you trying to come at me, telling me I'm trying to help you out. I said, but the neighborhood thinks I'm a lazy bum.
That's something I struggle with. Simple things, even door opening. Like when we grew, I'm serious, because I didn't grow up with a father in the home either.
Yeah.
And I've also been just so accustomed to just being by myself and doing by myself or whatever. And it'd be simple stuff like, I work with mostly guys at my job, or all guys actually, at the office that I work at. And then so when we're like out on like a work lunch or something like that, like, and they'll try to open the door or something, if I get to the door first, I open the door myself. And it's always just this awkward moment, because I'm so self-sufficient and so independent in that way. Or the water thing, I'll try to carry all the groceries or whatever. So relationships have always been a little weird.
No, it is, but on the same side, every bill I put too much pressure on myself, because since my mother really was handling all of the bills and being able to negotiate and I do that. So now I do that, and my boy, his wife does all of that mostly.
Yeah.
Where he makes the money, he does all the yard work, he does all the heavy, like the traditional man. I do a lot of things that my mother did in terms of that respect. I'm talking about bills and all that. I never really learned how to build. And it's funny, I had like an IQ test, and it was like, he'll never be like a builder or anything like that, because I just didn't like to put puzzles together. That's not my thing. I'm so happy if I put a table together, like one that you just screw in 4 legs. That's why I'm like, yeah, I did that. I'm proud as hell of just that. But it's like, so there's a lot of things, and when you grow up, without that other side of it, you tend to do that. So I can understand it. But like I said, as a man, there's a difference in how we're looked, because we're looked at also in the Christian world as we are right next to Jesus. So we're accountable. It's not, and that's why I always say, it's not that we're better as men, but we're accountable more. So remember back in the day, when you leave that house, that boy leaves with that man's last name. So it's a reflection of the man's last name, not the woman. It just became the women a little bit, mainly because single mothers and all that. But that's the way I live it. I'll be like, yo, this is my name. So if your wife out there sleeping around and drinking and going crazy, if your son's out there stealing cars and your daughter is fast and drinking and all that, that reflects on the man every time. Every time. So that, but yeah, I that's an interesting take, and I just want to know what everybody else feels. Do you feel that a rich or a more, I would say, a more successful man would take a woman to marry or to take, or a serious relationship that's not so educated or not so wealthy, faster than a woman would do the same with a man?
It's interesting, because I think that was the whole issue with Trump and his first wife. That's Ivanka. Was that her name?
Wasn't that his like fifth wife or something? Let me stop. I'm saying, but yeah, I know you're talking about the one that.
No, his first one.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was his first, or like, I don't know how many wives he had. I just know he has like what, 2? He had 3 or something, or
I think he's had like 3 wives.
Okay,
or
yeah,
4 wives, 3 baby mamas.
The daughter's mother, the daughter and the son's
But
mother?
the two, his 2 older children's mother. Yeah. And her, the one that had the clothing line. I think it was Ivanka or something. I don't know. Whatever, the first wife. She started like having a life for herself, and she built her own businesses off of the name Trump and the fact that they were this or whatever. And so she started to get praised and becoming more popular, and then that became an issue for them apparently, which led to their divorce.
And that's true too. A lot of I'll tell you right now, a lot of men and they like that power over you, because they start to feel, again, going into our feelings, we'll start to feel a certain way if you start getting. I don't care. Like, I want my wife to be like she was when we first got in. She's the one that had the good job. I was the one making $8 an hour. So I was cool with that. I wasn't trying to mooch, because I always think of, like, every time I meet, like I said, my friend opened a restaurant. I'm never envious. When I say envious and jealous, I'm never jealous to the point that I become hateful towards you. When I say I'm jealous, that means I'm motivated now. So the first thing I did when I got my food and went in the car, I said, Yvonne, we got to do this, we got to do that. Not that we're going to eat at a restaurant, but we need to get this other income coming in, and we need, because it motivates me. If I'm not, if you're not a friend of mine, just let y'all know, if you're around me and you're not motivating me and pushing me to do better, then I have no, I'm probably not going to be around you too much, because it's worthless, in my opinion, for me to be around people who I feel like I always got to chase. Meaning it just keeps me going. If everybody's complacent, like I made this analogy to my kids. I used to work out sometimes with the like Tollwood and Salem, Bayside, like different schools, right? Different ones I used to work out with a lot of football players. So like I've worked out with what's it called? Oh my God, now I forget his name. It was this dude Lee. I don't know if you know Lee and Ryan Burton, but they was there. Lee was a class of 2000. Ryan was a year behind us. They used to work out hard, and so Sko used to work out with them. I want to say, I'm not sure about Nick, if Nick did, but I know Sko, we used to work out. You know, they had conditioning for football, whatever, and they used to just do regular around the neighborhood stuff that they would drag me into. Sometimes because I like playing basketball, I didn't want to do it, but it made me like real, because they was competitive as hell. So I always had to push myself to be more competitive, or they would talk shit and I would never hear it, the end of it. So I had to always push myself and put in that respect. When I went up top, it was all about basketball. It was always like I had to be somewhat good, or I'm never gonna. So it was, but when I started getting with individuals that we were around that didn't care, my workouts became 20 minutes and we talking most of the time.
Right.
Instead of an hour or 30 minutes of real hard intense, it became slack because they were cool with slacking, and then I was like, all right, well, yeah, you're right. I don't feel like doing this anyway. So it's hard to say this. I have it now, but I didn't always have my self motivation. So I use others to make me motivated, kind of like MJ would do when he would lie, or Mike Tyson might do. He might be like, yo, make something up in his head to knock your head off.
Right.
By the way, like he's gonna do Roy Jones, but I mean we'll get into that.
Right. Yeah, on another show.
On another show. But yeah, because I know we run we 5 minutes over. I just want to real quick remind everybody, next week, please stay tuned, stay to the point radio. I'm gonna put the audio part on anchor.fm, and it says / Fuego Beats, but it's WFBS 981. You could also listen to this starting tomorrow, or Tuesday. You can start listening back on Spotify. We have Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts, a bunch of ones that we'll list for you next time. But just listen to it, watch the video on YouTube. But the last thing, I gotta put a couple What the Fuegos together, Sherry. One What the Fuego has got to go to J. Trump, that you're going to talk about that the election could get delayed because of COVID, but the kids supposed to go back to school. Tell me how that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
Just tell me how that makes. Any of you guys could comment. Don't call me a libtard. Don't call me a liberal. Don't call me a snowflake. Answer the question. How does it make sense? And once you make logical sense, I'll shut up. Right. But I want to know why.
That's what I always tell people, because I literally ask direct questions and people answer like all around, like they answer in circles.
Obama wasn't.
I'm like, just
answer
the question.
The question.
Make it make sense.
That's all I asked for. I said make sense. Just make sense of it. That's all you have to do. Like, he's the biggest one on there, and everybody that's following that. I just don't understand what is wrong that you guys can't just explain. And like I said, we are logical people. If it makes sense, we will.
He's trying to create a case for a question about his loss, if in the event that he loses, with the whole, mail-in voting, etc., blah, blah, blah. That's why he's harping on that, like literally paying no attention to other issues that are going on and harping about mail-in voting, because he's really trying to create his defense for loss, which is showing it's like, really? Are you scared?
Yes.
Are you scared, Donald?
I mean, and I think so. I think he's scared. I really do. The other thing I would like to put on is fast food workers. I'm going, because I ain't gonna lie, I've been out of whack with my semi my diet. Yeah, I've been working out, but I haven't been the greatest. So I got fries the other day, and I was like, the girl got mad at me because I got a coupon for free. I bought a Sprite and got a free fry. She mad at me. How do you get mad about somebody else's establishment and they put out the free coupon? I'm not tricking the system. How does that make you angry? What did you have to do extra? I just cut a step from you. I just
Stop
cut,
it.
huh?
I said, stop it.
No, I swear to God, I cut a step out for you. Okay. The steps are I order, you take all this, you got to take my money, you got to scan my card, you got to understand, remember what, because I know it's automatic somewhat, but you got to do a little bit of calculations probably. I haven't been on how to register in years, but you got to do to get my accurate change back, all that. But guess what? I just got $1. So now it's $1.03 or $1.04, right? That's all you get from me. And then all you got to do is scan the little scanner on my coupon and you're done. I just made your life easier and you're angry. And then I asked for ketchup and you give me for a large fry and you give me one ketchup. And you get angry if I ask for 3. Let me get 3 ketchups. I put ketchup in, you put 1. What? It's not your inventory. And I know managers at Blockbuster, McDonald's, and they say don't grab a handful. But depending on what you have, they give you what you need, right? If you're not asking for, you didn't ask for 17. What is your problem? The other thing, back to Virginia with drivers, we all know they suck. We know that. We can all agree. But when you I just want to let you know. Now, if you this wasn't the case with this person, did not get their license plate stolen. I may understand this if they did. But just because you failed to get your license plate like you're supposed to have in the front and the back, so you decide to make a cardboard and write in all your information there and have a picture of the year, may not pass the test when a cop is behind you. I'm just warning you. You have cardboard box made. Like, stop doing stupid stuff, Virginia. And it's Virginia, and it's every time. It's always Virginia. I'm just gonna tell you. Always. I'm sorry. They'd be like, yo, I've been here for a long time now. But it has always been Virginia. I don't even have to answer questions. And I'll know it has something to do with Virginia. They'd be like, the DMV, there's cases of corona. Virginia. You ain't gotta tell me. It ain't Maryland, it ain't DC. Virginia. It's gotta be. Please. And the last one, I'm gonna ask my Latino friends and family. Do not fall for Donald Trump paying for the young lady that lost her life in down in Fort Hood. Do not blame. It was Fort Hood, am I correct? Yeah. I'm sorry. I just want to be sure. Don't fall for him saying he's going to pay for her funeral, and then all of a sudden, oh well, that's a vote for me. Don't do it because he's just doing that to buy you. Okay,
that's what I'm saying. Like, didn't say nothing hardly the whole time he was looking for this girl. Okay.
Yes.
The whole time. And like paying for a funeral, like, first of all, she's a veteran. So her funeral's already paid for. Let's just get that out of the way. FYI. So I guess any additional services, because you do not pay for a veteran to be buried. Exactly. She's a veteran. She died. She's an active service member.
Thank you.
So the couple of $1,000s that may come out of her funeral for the extra, wings and dings, let's just keep it simple. She's a veteran, so the country is already paying for her funeral.
But he's saying this. That's why. So let me just explain. He thinks you're stupid. He thinks y'all stupid. He thinks you're dumb. Sherri just told you the whole deal. And if you still
country's already paying for a funeral, so maybe he's being smart about it. I'm gonna pay for her funeral. The country's already paying for her funeral.
It's the same thing he said when he was when the Warrior when Steph Curry Steph Curry and them said they not coming to the White House. So he said, and a couple weeks later, they're not invited. They ain't coming. So what do you mean? That's like if I'm not invited to a party and I say I ain't coming to your party. I wasn't invited anyway. I'm not coming. Like, God. I don't want to come to your thing.
I hope that nobody votes for him for that because the country's already paying for her funeral.
I'm telling you, they and he, her, look at his face. He has no expression. Like I told you, I don't even know if that's Donald Trump anymore. It might be like a situation that's a clone, and Donald
my daughter
in the basement.
My daughter said that we're all in a simulation.
And what if we are? We all like this in the tube. Right now with some shit like on like my man on what's his name on Tales from the Hood when he had all those visions and all that. That we on something. I had a dream we were in something like that, and I woke up and I was going through the different ages. Like I grabbed my son, and it was like we were hugging, but we were like say like in my house right now. All of a sudden it was it was like what's it called like the dinosaur age. It all ran past us. It was the weirdest thing. Went to the pirates, to the slave ships, all of that. Like I was right there. Wow. And then I woke up in this chamber that was like that. And I was like, what? And I'm like,
give me nightmares. I'm claustrophobic to think about. I might be in one of those Matrix things.
No, because you can make a person go like I was drinking one night, and that's why I won't drink and watch nothing serious. Gotta watch Friday or something. Because I was drinking, and I had a couple more, and I started getting scared when they said that I forgot what date that was a couple years ago that they were gonna have it was gonna be the rapture. I was literally looking in the sky like that. I was like, yo, let me see. I was like, yo, if I see somebody floating and I'm still down here, motherfucker, goddamn. But yeah, so that's what the fuego for me. Sherry, I don't know if you got any more.
No, but that one about him paying for that funeral, that was a good one. And then now, yeah, fast food workers, they do be tripping. They be mad. Like you mad and you work in a fast food restaurant.
You wanted to work there.
Like you put in the application. Like you did that. Nobody like forced you to come in here today. And it's so funny. My mom does DoorDash to make some extra money, and she's always telling me these crazy stories. And she was telling me about Popeyes, and this Popeyes out here is consistently the worst. Okay, like, and then my with the fuego, I have one. Speaking of Popeyes, so I went because the whole hype about the chicken sandwich, and like I had never had it because I'm not a big fast food person. But I was out the other day, and not even the other day, it was yesterday, and I wanted a chicken sandwich, and I was like, all right, well, Chick-fil-A, because Chick-fil-A was down the street. I had the option, I had the choice. It wasn't Sunday, it wasn't far, so I was like, but Popeyes is right here. Let's try it. Let me go ahead and get it out the way. Let me try this chicken sandwich. It was the worst. So anybody that was out here talking about Popeye's chicken sandwich is better than Chick-fil-A, you can all go to hell, straight to hell, because it's a lie. It was greasy, nasty. It was the worst. The sandwich.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling it either. It was not that
It was serious. Not good. And I was just like, I'm thinking the hype, everybody was out here, but no. Chick-fil-A still has it. They have the best chicken sandwich. Kiss my butt. I do not care what you think about me. Popeyes is gross. Their sandwich was not good. Never again. But the pickles on the sandwich were better than Chick-fil-A's pickles.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I really didn't like it. I didn't think when somebody say spicy, I need spicy. It ain't spicy.
But they have two. They have the regular one.
Yeah, I actually got a taste of both.
Right.
So I was like, I mean, it is a sandwich. I mean,
it wasn't even good though. That was my problem. It wasn't like, oh, it's good, but Chick-fil-A is better. It was not good.
It wasn't good. It wasn't. I would take a Wendy's chicken sandwich over that.
I'd take a McDonald's chicken sandwich over that.
McChicken, $2 for
the McChicken, add some tomato on that thing, and it's all right. Like. It's not like I was just like I felt some type of way because it was so hyped up, and I was like, this is what Trump needs to be talking about when he's talking about fake news. I said, this is fake news, #fake news. Popeye's chicken sandwich is disgusting.
Exactly. And I will say my last thing, because I know we got to wrap it up. My last thing is just saying I love my Caribbean people, but Jamaican. Y'all my people, but You gotta now, mind you, my boy, his restaurant, they move, they go quick, they on it, but that's rare. And I'm sorry. Hopefully, y'all won't say I'm being prejudiced. I'm not. I'm being real, and y'all know this is facts. I need the Jamaicans to walk a little bit faster and get things a little bit faster, and just learn a tad bit of customer service. Like I said, my man, his joint is he got it. But most of y'all know how y'all do. I go into
You
a
have
spot.
to be
I was
American Jamaicans, which are not real Jamaicans, because
Yeah, my no,
Jamaicans.
don't. This spot I went to though in Long Island, and then I have a spot down here in Woodbridge, VA, right? And they
Mhm.
from there because I used to talk like when I used to visit here. They used to have a smaller spot, and I want to say maybe it was a grandfather that ran it or something, and it was dope. This one is dope too. Down here, the one in Long Island is dope. They got great, but yo, the one in Long Island, I come, they looking at me like this. What you want? What you want? I was like, damn, what do I want? And then, mind you, I know how they act, but I'm with a bunch of people that straight up from like Charlottesville, Virginia, and like places that Utah and Idaho and stuff that they don't know. They like, damn, this is rude. And I'm like, well, and what do you want? And I'm like, whoa, well, can I get 2 beef patties? You don't want beef patty? I said that, yes.
What I said, yeah.
Then they look back, they look at me with an attitude, then they look back. And I'm like, you could count, there's 5. What is it taking you so long to figure that out? It's 5. Then they walk in slow. Y'all got more beef pat? I'm like, just take those 5. Ain't nobody in here and you ain't got no online orders. Just
Right.
give me the damn shit. And I'm like, and then they say, you want these or we got some fresh ones? That's cool. Okay, that's why you asked. But like I said, I just need y'all to move a little quicker. Because what? But my man, like I said, I got shout out, and I'm asking permission to say the name next time. But it's the only spot in Alexandria. I'll say that. That's popping. And it's a long route one. It's popping. He don't do that. They move fast. Okay? So, so they actually should do a video to help the others. Because they
Right.
move slow. The other thing, I'm sorry, I said it was one more. It's the last one. If I go to a restaurant, I don't look like you in a restaurant, there's no reason for all y'all to stop conversation just to look at me.
Please
Because
say
I
it
want
again.
food. I just want food. That's
Because
all I'm asking for.
oh, I want y'all to come visit me so bad. It's so bad here that white people see us every
It ain't
day.
even white people I'm talking about. But yeah.
No, but I am. Okay, I'm talking about white. You see us every day, and it's every time. Every time I walk in a restaurant, everybody just stop and stare. Like, I'm sorry, did I say something, do something? Am I wearing something? They're probably like, who is this Amazon black bishop?
That's what I'm
Walked in
saying.
here. But I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out, why did y'all all just stop your whole conversation at the table to look at me walk through this door? Like, I never understand it. It happens every time. I'm not delusional. It really happens. And you're right, it does happen in black places too, but I just don't understand the interest in why in me walking through the door. Why did you have to stop your conversation? Like, I just walked through the door.
That's all I'm asking. You stop all
I
conversation.
think that maybe it's our height, because I am kind of tall for a girl. I don't think I'm tall though. I'm only 5'7".
Oh.
But if I have on shoes, I'll be borderline
because
6
I'm like,
feet.
what? But you know what I get away with, right? In certain neighborhoods, like those maybe all one culture or whatever neighborhoods. I was up in this one. Oh my God! It's well, the other day I was up in oh my God, the Potomac, Maryland. So
Yeah.
like it's the Housewives of Potomac, that area. So it was
Mhm.
like, yo, honestly, I thought those pleasure houses and houses I saw like in the Hamptons, they were big. These joints is crazy. Like, so they got Redskins and then those reality people and a bunch of other probably diplomats and people like that live in those places, and then like Great Falls, right?
Mhm.
So I went to a spot near there in like Great Falls area before, and it was they looked at me, and it was a Dairy Queen. I went in, and they was like, these kids said, "That's him," and I said, "Him? I think it is." And I'm looking, and I'm like, "Who?" I had grew my beard a little bit, and I just had slippers on. I was chilling,
Mhm.
and I heard this other dude. It was mixture. It was like some Asians and blacks, but a lot of white, young people. think that's him. I knew it was him. That's Donovan McNabb. I said, what the fuck?
What?
No damn Donovan McNabb. Are you kidding? But I played with it. And I said, you going to check out the game? Mind you, that's when he was on the Redskins. So I'm like, I look nothing like this dude. Like, what are you talking about? Then I had a guy in the grocery store and in the other Maryland spot, and they were like, oh my God. He was like, so are you guys going back? Like, how's the NFL season? I'm thinking like, I don't know. Turn on the shit. You can find out too. What you asking me? I don't know. So I'm thinking, maybe he's scared because I'm not here of me. But he was like, no. He was like, because I know you play lineman. And I played with him like crazy. I basically said, yeah. I said, yeah, we're going to be all right this year. I said, we don't have a name for our team. And we just laughing. And I was sitting there. I was going, and I said, he actually believes me. So then me and my man, he's my size. I said, they're going to actually think that we are Redskins. So they ain't going to bother us. Because they're going to literally think. So if you're in certain areas, they like out here in those areas, they will think that you are somebody because I'm a big ass.
Yeah, it's true. My ex-boyfriend was 6'7", so every time I walk somewhere, people be thinking that we're somebody or whatever. And same thing, like when you go overseas, people be thinking that you're not nobody. I'm just a regular person.
I don't make no money. I ain't got no money. It ain't gonna happen. Right. But anyway, yo, Sherry, it was great. You know what I'm saying? I text my P because I was like, I forgot. When we get in these conversations, I forget I have things that I have to do. And I know you got to go.
I do the same. Yeah, so I know.
I told them I'll be right there. So I'm trying to make bulgogi tonight. So I got to get things.
Same.
So with that being said, everybody, we are going to check you out next week. Don't forget to continue to tune in. Stay to the Point Radio each and every week. And if you have any ideas or you want to join or you want to just contribute to the show any way, you can always hit us up, Stay to the Point Radio at Gmail. Sherry, anything, last words or anything?
No. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And that's it. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, next week. And I'm not using Saya's tagline. That's his special thing. So
yeah,
he's the new Russell Simmons. Just let y'all know. All right, we out.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.